Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies strengthening your business while offering your talent to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Hello, and welcome to another Tuesday marketing broadcast given by Giver Marketing Network. I'm Christine Deane, your team director, and I am so excited today. Hey, Michael.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Michael Tanner with Dice Media Group. Good morning, Christine. So we're just hanging in here.
We love collaborating. And so when Rajiv introduced me to you, and we've had Rajiv on the show a couple of times, and I was like, oh my goodness, Michael, you have to come on the show and come talk to our viewers and just share your sparks of wisdom that are all over the place. And I'm so excited. We are blasting out to all sorts of wonderful locations, from Selling with Dignity, Richard Plano Networkers. We've got Al McKinney NetWeavers, 380 Corridor Networking, around North Dallas Business Networking. Oh, yes, I can. Women in Business, At Ease Veterans Networking, Believers with Something to Sell, Entrepreneurs Community. We are just blasting out everywhere. If you want us to blast out to you, let me know, and we will blast out, because we love partnerships. We love working together. We are here to help rise everyone together so you can elevate your marketing and PR. And that is totally Michael's place of genius. And Michael, tell them a little bit about you, your origin. How did you get to be this great PR genius?
Well, my literal first job was working for a newspaper. I was 10 years old, and they weren't going to let me do it. And then I learned that now understand, I was pulling in $70 to $100 a month, like 45 years ago. Okay, from my little newspaper route. Okay. So that was more than enough you needed to rent an apartment at that time. That was enough money that you could, I could successfully, and I had basically two routes that I'd cover, right? So one route was like 70 papers. The other route was another 70 papers, right? And it was like football training practice. So I learned how I could read the newspaper every day, but when, like, on Sundays or Thanksgiving, the papers were just super heavy. But I got to read all the headlines on the newspaper. I started realizing what grabbed people's attention. What was above the fold in the newspaper business? Above the fold is the stuff that's you're going to see, war, whatever kind of thing. Below the fold, what they buried on A17, because I got free newspapers somehow every freaking day. So, and that is some way that we start to get our information, right? So, and working and then being able to work with customers and understand, I had an incident where a guy thought I threw my newspaper through his window, and I said, and then I started showing him that I could ride my bike, throw newspaper through his tire. He's like, you should play football, So those kinds of things. And then as and it's not really genius. It's just that common sense and common love make great public relations. Be able to read a story, write a story, deliver the story to where you want it to go. That is called an audience. Those people that, who, what, where, when, why, how, and who cares. Those are the things that you need to know. And the who cares is the most important. So if you want to be in the market, you want to be making the change. It doesn't matter if you're doing like a nonprofit or a great big corporation, okay? You need to be able to reach and deal with people on their level. And understand that most newspapers, even today, are like, what are they? They're fifth grade reading, okay? They are fifth grade reading. So if you want to know how to write in a newspaper, you get one of these. This is a very complicated book. It's called the Associated Press Style Book, okay? Yeah, I have other ones, like.
Well, so Michael, I'm not
Yeah.
sure how relevant newspaper is now. That might be where you started.
Because if you can't write, it doesn't matter. If you look like you're on AI, you sound like you're an AI, they have no reason to read you. So you need to be able to write. You need to be able and by the way, just for a hint, just for a little bit, right? The newspapers that are still delivered, why do 60% of the people buy those newspapers for?
The comics.
No. Coupons. Coupon clipping. And they still do, it's the ads. It's the coupon clipping that they can't get in other places. By the way, sports, if you killed the sports in the newspaper or the
There
comics,
goes your whole subscription.
yeah, exactly. So because people have routines and rituals. So what you want to do is you want to address your audience in a regular fashion, and you want to be and you want to be able to be available to them. So even though you think that newspapers are not, or writing is not that important,
Writing is very important. Yeah, as a communications professor, I know that's one of the things I always taught my students. You may not ever like public speaking, but by God, you will be well organized. You will know how to present yourself by the time you finish my class.
Right, but watch this. So, professor, there's a bank study that went like this, okay? So they said the same thing. The bank said, why are we publishing this stupid newsletter? It doesn't do us any good, right? Okay? But they just went web, and they lost 60% of their sales. The people that are decision makers like to have that physical feel of something in their hands. So it was that little touch. Every basketball player says, give me the rock, at least a little bit part of the game. That's how I get my energy. But if you want to reach people that have money, right? I mean, we like to talk to people with money, right? So we'll deliver them something like a gift, and your newsletter can be that gift. So that is just one aspect of what we're going to talk about. We're going to be talking about a lot of other things. So get yourself. We'll give you a second. Get yourself a notepad and stuff, and we're going to talk about YouTube and other things too. So, this is.
So we started old school. We started with newspaper,
Yes.
right? And we've gone from there because there is so much going on with PR, right? Newspaper, press releases. I mean, there is so much in the PR space.
Right.
It's
It used
crazy.
to be that your job as a PR agent was to get just some earned to get some earned media. What that means is that
Yeah. Explain earned media for those that aren't familiar with the PR space.
okay, so an earned media, let's say you want to, now there are tricks to doing this, but let's say I make up a business, okay? The lemonade stand is perfect because every year your cute little daughter's going to stand out there at the lemonade stand, right? And you're going to be able to take 2 quick pictures of them selling lemonade, right? And then there's the guy who's going to come up there and give her $20, okay? Little children, puppies, kittens, these things are what we would do, and we'll put those below the fold, but on a slow news day, they'll be on the front page, they'll be in the local stuff. Little Jenny is selling her lemonade. We want to have that community connection with somebody because when we want to get them other information, we want them to read that too. So we have to reward our readers or the people that are on it. I don't care if you have a website. A lot of times people say, well, I want to have 200,000 people on my website, right? That's the views, right? But what if you get zero income out of it? What if all the effort that you're doing is absolutely bupkis, okay? wouldn't it be better to have a community of 3 or 4,000 people that pay you $1 a month? Wouldn't that be like fantastic? Even 50 cents a month, and then you reward them with your newsletter. You let them go to your patron. You let them be part of your community. You let them in on what's going down with Mr. Sotheby's cow, you know, because sometimes that is what writing is about saying, I love you. My brand is an expression of my love for you. You love me, I love you. But in order for somebody to care about you, Christine, what do you have to do first? What?
Well, I was just thinking, what a great point. I'd like to point out the idea of having an active audience as opposed to a passive audience, right? And you talk about, for example, influencer marketing. It's the ones that are the smaller mini influencers, micro influencers that have a bigger influence on their audience because they know their audience. They've built that rapport. They've said, I love you to my audience, just like you said, right? And the audience loves them back as opposed to the big ones influencers that don't necessarily know their audience, right? They might follow him, they might watch him, but how many of them are actually moved to action? So I love that you brought that up.
Yes. So there's entire businesses that are called aggregators. So what you do is you write your story, and if you're familiar with AP Wire, they're really just an aggregator. They collect people try to go against the AP Wire, but there's thousands of reporters, and the AP doesn't care. They just if they're hiring you, they're saying, hey, you can do this thing, this thing, this thing. That's fine. They don't have really an axe to grind that way. They're just this is the news. This is where the snow happened. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. Most people don't even remember that. So if you can't find the who, what, where, when, why, and how, then you don't have a story. Okay. And then I'm going to tell you a secret. This isn't Fox News. So you need at least 2 or 3 credible sources. Okay. I like to have 3. Okay. So if you have those 3 credible sources, it will prevent you from being sued. Don't worry. If you're on YouTube, you can be sued federally. Okay. So you get to go to federal court. Now that's a lot of fun. You have that kind of money? I don't. So even if you carry insurance, like I do, you don't want that. Okay. So then, people won't trust you. Okay. If you're always lying, right? They're going to, you can fool, what is the saying? Fool some of the people some of the time, but not all the people all the time. Pretty soon, they're going to find out. Okay. And then, if they know that, then they won't take you seriously. And you need sometimes to be funny. Like Jon Stewart's is funny, but he's taken seriously a lot of times by the politicians and other people because they know that he has limits, and these are the box. They know what they're getting, okay. But when you're working radio or other things, you have to keep your credibility in shape and in tip-top condition.
Absolutely.
So
Your credibility is always important, right? Whether you're a speaker, an author, a coach, a business owner, whatever it is, you want to make sure you're building that credibility, not destroying it. So yeah, love it, Michael.
So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about pathos, what they feel about you, right?
Yep.
Ethos, that's the credibility. So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll grab credibility from other people and other sources, and then we try to make an argument. That argument is called a scope. It's like a funnel, okay? So you try to keep everything inside scope. That's why when you get on, you hear word salad, I hear the wrong word in the right ear. I know that somebody's lying to me, right? See, that's what we don't teach that really anymore. And part of that is we have to write every day. Even if you can only write 100 words a day, that's fine. Because your 100 words, an article is only like 500 words, right? Over a week, you'll write those words out. And if you can't, it's okay to get somebody else, right? Like I have a face built for radio. Okay, so I know that I'm not going to be, unless it's like critically important, I'm not going to be on air on a TV station, right? Unless it's like something very, very serious, and they're like, we need somebody that's not going to be, I got blonde hair and blue eyes, and yeah, and you don't care what I say because I look a certain way, So you just have to say, I've got this quantity, this quality, this is the reason, and you say, I've got to make for a writer, right? You say, I've got to make this much an hour for me to have a happy life. This is what I'm going for. So if you're not doing those things, right, is it all the audience's fault or is it your fault? Whose fault is it if you're not delivering the message for your clients, for your customers, for your family? And one of the scoreboards, and this is the problem, in media, we're supposed to be able to go to jail. We're supposed to be able to throw our towel down, right? Cops, come and get me. I'm ready. Okay, I took pictures of you, me. I need to make some money in a few weeks because when you arrest me and you arrest the other AP reporters here, we're gonna put that. Yeah, it's gonna get published. Don't worry about it, right? So that's something that we're going to be talking a little bit about.
You bring up an interesting point, right, Michael? There's not many careers where you're expecting that you're going to get questioned, and if you don't open your mouth and say where you got that information, you're going to end up in jail. That's not part of normal people's work every day.
That's called the little girl problem. We have a little girl problem where they don't want to go to jail, where they don't want to stand up on the line, where they don't want to do anything. But that's a journalist job. A public relations job is to say, we're not going to get into that situation unless we have to. Now, look, so we have like the largest gathering of people in the United States is going to take place. It's called the No Kings Rally. Okay. And I don't care what side of politics you are on, they are being effective on getting millions of people out to the streets. That takes organization, planning, right? A love of what we're doing. It is taking audiences. There's several audiences in there that are going to be against each other, right? We're not looking for a purity test. Can you show up? Will you help us amplify our message? Will you be there? And when you get a mass like that, there's going to be counter protesters. When you have that mass of people, what are you going to do? You're going to have a moment to have a message, and your message has to be ready. So I don't care if you're going to be doing a speech in the library, just you and me. I used to say on my radio station, when I was on the radio station, just, hey, it's you, me, my mom, and 9 other people that are listening, okay? But really, it was like me, so it's just, but yeah, by the way, your mom never thinks you're funny. No matter what joke you say about her, it is not funny.
Especially if it's about her.
Yes. It is never funny. Your fiance never thinks your jokes are funny, even if it's about the cats. So you have to say, these are the things that I'm willing to say. These are the things I'm not willing to say. When you say I'm doing public relations, these are the things, these are the 10 rules to dating my daughter, right? My teenage daughter kind of thing, or the 6 rules, right? And you say, we will not lie, we will not do this, we will not take money from this. When you're a reporter, you do not take 10 cents from anybody. You do not take a cup of coffee. You do not do that thing because they know that they can bend you at that point, right? If you'll do this little thing, it's not that long until you start doing other things. So if you're going to be talking about your organization, you want to work in a corporation, you want to be that person, don't get caught on kiss cams, and that's that. Don't date the boss, okay? Just don't do it. Women, I know it's all fun and everything, but anyway, yeah. So that's how you get. So if you could say, I'm not going to be it. I'm a public relations practitioner. I'm probably not going to be in some place that I can be part of a story. I'm not going to be someplace. So your job is to stay out of the story as a public relations practitioner, not be part of the story. If you're a reporter, you're reporting on the story and not part of the story. So I'm going to talk about selling your story to the media right now.
All right, let's hear it. I want to hear about this one. Talk to us.
So let's talk, Christine, you've done some missionary work, some other things like that. Don't you wish that there was somebody there besides just you and your 2 friends sitting there trying to get their message out? Because do you have time to listen to about the glory of Jesus? No. Okay, well, no. And they just say no normally, okay? So what do? We set out cookies. We put punch out. We have a little bit of song and dance, We put some visuals out. If you don't need to have visuals, you don't need a TV station there, right? If you want the TV station there, the cute costumes, the the other, right, the little fancy uniforms, the kitten being held, something that drives them to be there. Because remember, whatever format we're on a visual. If we're on radio or if we're on a podcast, the audio is everything. It is. It's not just having the deep voice, and saying stuff like "my sexy lady, you turn me on" kind of stuff. It is about, yeah, it is about. Even though people listen to that, right? If you listen to the Barry White stuff, you'll hear it. You automatically identify with it. If you listen to CNN, it's James Earl Jones saying, "This is CNN." It's that credibility. That is your ethos. You're going to borrow those, like at the beginning of the show. We're going to be borrowing our ethos because guess what? Reporters are going to look at that. I'm just a normal person. They're going to, at the beginning of the show, there's 2 minutes of a well-produced almost infomercial almost. It's just a clip and it talks about what we're doing, why we're doing it, who it is, right? What is it? Who, what, where, why, how. And it's all in that video. When we want to sell our story, a lot of times it's we're going to get our press release ready, okay? We're going to have it ready. Maybe we'll have some visuals. We can do a lot more with a PDF now. A lot of organizations will not accept a PDF. If you want to go to Wall Street Journal, you want to do something like that, it's just in the body of the email, right? You say, who are my audience? Who is this going to be targeted for? Okay, so let's do the exercise, Christine. Who is it for? And then why, right? How is it doing it? Is this a free event or is this advertising? If it's a free event to feed homeless, we have a better shot of getting, if it's not a selfish thing. If it's an ad, we definitely are. It's going to be turned over to sales, and they're going to give you a nice little call and say, don't you want to buy some ads, right?
Right.
Right? Because I've never worked at a radio station where they said, let's sell some newspaper or radio ads instead of us, right? That's one of the things that's something that you have to really think about is what's the organization's interest, right? What do they cover? Let's read. If we're going to submit it to somebody, let's submit it to that reporter, that editor. Let's do our homework because it does. How long does it take to read like 5 or 6 articles on the internet, right? Okay. I loved you, and make a comment. I loved your story. I have something that goes along with that story, something like that. Would you like to have that story? Okay, we're going to be doing that in about 2 weeks from now. You are part of their plan. They're not part of your plan, right? So you're part of their plan. If you're going to go, you're going to take somebody out to eat, right, or something like that. You want to, you say, like you want to say where we're going, right? You're going to say, I'm going to brush my teeth. There's some things that we're going to be. They know that we're going to brush our teeth. We're going to look nice. Okay. We're going to open the door for her so that she feels comfortable in the situation, right? We're going to do all the things that we have to do, and then we're going to give them their reward, which is not only dinner, but a good conversation, and it's fun. Because we're looking for the second day. The first date is just about getting the second date. And a lot of times when I tell restaurants, I have a client or something like that, I'll say, listen, it's hard as hell to get them to taste your food the second time unless they taste it the first time. So we might do our open house where we're giving away food to the neighborhood. We might do some different things depending on what we're doing. When we do advertising, when we're doing a nonprofit or something, we have people, process, and product. All we really have a lot of times is the people and their effort, which is the process, and we want to invite people inside that organization. So that's the thing that we're going to talk about. If you love no one, if you help no one, guess who's going to help you, right?
Absolutely. We understand that as a Giver Marketing Network, we're all about giving and working with those. We like to shine the light on those that are doing good in the world. So that's exactly our philosophy, right? So we want to give and we want other people to give. And so we get this massive giving going on where everybody's helping everybody. What a great environment that is.
Right. So if I want help from the library, I'm going to do a couple stories for them to get them coverage, right? And then if I need a speaking room, it's a lot easier to convince, oh, he did the Halloween thing and he got the camera crews out here that we never saw before. He did all this work for us and it was free. Okay, if you want to have your Dungeons and Dragons night in the thing, it's going to be a lot easier. Or or you're going to have this lady talk and she's going to talk about her flower book or something, much easier. But we're going to do something that's going to be beneficial for them at all times. Every time you show up, it's like your guy who's wearing a stake around his neck, and you want the dog to play with you. So that's how it's got to be, and because everybody's interested mostly in themselves, right?
Right. So when we talk about, earned media,
We sell it. We're selling it. If we have a new person, we're going to get on the phone. We're going to talk to them. We're going to sound like we're reasonable, right?
right? So
If
you've
you
already
have
been building these relationships. You've already been doing things that are
and
generous.
this
You've already started giving. So when you have an ask, you've already earned that right to have that conversation or have them at least think about it.
right, and I'm going to tell you something that some people do. They love to talk about politics. They love it more than they love making money. I know an author with 30 books out. He sells 0 books off of his social media because he likes to put these radical political things up on Facebook. When you try to talk to somebody who could really amplify him, make him a movie, and his stuff is really good. It's world class. He's won awards on it. They don't want to deal with him. You want to have your political left, right, whatever kind of thing. That's fine. Just understand that nobody has an obligation. Nobody has nobody is going to be forced to put you on their free air for an hour. So you can make your decisions. You can be highly political. You can wear your hats. You can do all that great stuff. But guess what? There's a bias that goes something like this. If you're political, you are dangerous to me. Okay? I want a job tomorrow. So I don't need to be making news necessarily in that way on my show. Now, if you're like R.R. Martin and you come on my show and you want to do you say Game of Thrones, you're assigning some stuff, give out some tickets, whatever kind of thing that you're going to do, right? And he's not going to talk about politics. That's one of the reasons he's so big. He says about history, not about politics or a point of view which could be offensive to other people. He will talk
right. When we
about
think about controversial topics, right, there are those that are known for them, and you get a certain amount of media from that, right? You got to decide what's your spot that you want to play, right? Do you want to be that political wild card people are concerned about, right? So what is it that you want to be known for? So you got to be careful, and you need to plan that, right? Part of your brand.
I know a lady who her husband was high up in the British government. Okay, all right, and she likes to say all this radical stuff, right? And get on Piers Morgan. She does, okay, but she's not making any money. And not only that, she got her family kicked out of Auckland. Her husband lost her job. Now she's so nuclear, right? Can you imagine if you're an Ivy League school and you're going to put her kids in your Ivy League school? What's the answer going to be? It's going to be no. Because I don't want to deal with crazy lady. There's so many if your kid's on the march and he's a genius, but I get the same genius without the headache and heartburn, I'm going to pick that kid. So the stuff you do in the public can cause damage to everybody else around you. So be cognizant of what you do, be aware of your character, be in the moment, and understand that what you say today could affect you for a long time period. There are a lot of people that love to go take they love to video themselves at their work, and they find out that they get fired the next day. Or they do something crazy on YouTube, but they're a manager or something, and they get fired the next day. And they says, but that's not fair. I says, well, no, that's just the way life is.
Right. These are issues we have nowadays that were not necessarily issues way back when, right? These are new. I know the next generation growing up with cell phones and media and social media, right? I know with our family, the next generation, they've taken the other extreme of no, we're not going to post too much on social because we want to let our kids grow up and decide what they want to put on social. Right. So you're seeing an interesting shift there also because they're realizing, right, you've got to be careful for reputation management.
Right. And the stuff that you do when you're 15 now is affecting you to getting a job. When there's a lot of stupid stuff you do. Every guy does every stupid thing. You see, that's why guys are funny, because you can predict how stupid they're going to be. Well, there was a girl, and she wanted me to be communist, and yes, whatever it took, okay? I was there, okay? Or whatever. Or she wanted to be ultra, yeah, or whatever, ultra flag or something. I was ultra flag all week, and then, yes, and then she dumped you, yeah, and then I turned to something else. So we have to say, in order to protect our kids and in order to be safe, the things that we do that are in our high school will affect them in what they get in college, and we are going to be musical chairs for the next 10 years with college. In other words, there's fewer and fewer jobs, just aggregate jobs. Not only that, there's fewer and fewer really good jobs, and those jobs are taken by people that are going to be non-controversial usually. They're going to be hyper something. They're going to be hyper talented. And so that is something that's happening right now.
Yeah, that reputation management is huge, whether it's just plain civilian or whether you're a celebrity. I mean, you got to pay attention, right, to what you're putting out.
We're going to talk about crisis communication management, okay? So
let's hit it. Do it.
So crisis communication management, you have a Bible I give you, okay? And I said, here's the rules, okay? And this covers you for a lot of different reasons, okay? So it's like 12, it's 1,200 pages. But when somebody says they violated your policy, you say, I have my insurance policy. It's my policies. They violated the policy there. They signed here. This is what they did. We documented them at these stages, right? It wasn't a one-off that we fired them so that we don't get, sued. So there's a lot of things, a lot of human relations people, those human relations people are not for the employees. They fight for the user, and the user is the employer, okay? So if you want to keep a really high-end job, or you want to have something with some responsibility, you're going to be signing a policy manual. You're going to be giving up a bit of your autonomy. You're going to be doing all those things. Those are the trades, because you're not digging holes for a living. And you're not, we don't care what the janitor says usually. Okay, we don't care. That's Sam. He's not in charge of anything except the toilets. That's fine. He can clean the toilets and keep it to himself at 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, we can hold it down that way.
It's those high visibility, high end jobs, and positions of responsibility, right? You get an extra. People are looking at you a lot more closely, right? So you really need to pay attention to what's going on.
So you have to talk with your public relations, and it's more important, public relations specialist. And they shouldn't have just like some digital degree that I got 2 years ago. They should have a body of work, of written work. They should have some airtime. They should be worked in the media, because they have no idea, unless you've worked the other side of the job, right? You have no idea what you're looking for. And you don't know what a story with legs would be, okay? Or you don't know how to tamp it down. So there's two things.
You're going to have to explain those terms right there, Michael. Legs and tapping things down right there for those that aren't in the media space. If a story
has legs, there's no stopping it. It's going to get out, right?
It has legs, so it's running. It's running and running around, and people are noticing. Is that
right? It's viral. It's mega viral, which means that it escapes the internet. People think that's what's on X or Twitch, right? Or something is reality. It's not. It's when everybody, you go around your work and everybody's talking about it, right? Okay. This is, if you want to look up communications theories, it's called spiral of silence. If you're into that, so later that you can look that up. But anyway, it's that thing that's in the zeitgeist. Okay, that's a big word I paid a lot of money for. It's a zeitgeist. Okay, and that is when it escapes. And a story with legs is going to be, you know what? I stole 5 cents out of the company thing because I needed a candy bar. Okay, that's a story. You can say, yes, I did it. But if you say, no, I didn't, We've got you on camera, right? It wasn't me. Got you in the bathroom, wasn't me, right? You, you know, you know, you know, what? So you were cheating with the girl next door. It's the story that will get you a death by 1,000 cuts, right? Will get you. So come out with the truth. Come out with it faster than they can. Admit to it, and let the story die. But what we're doing right now is a lot of people think that they can lie for a while, and then that's okay until the shoe's on the other foot. And then there's accountability moments. Okay, so
So you're saying crisis management is own it, let it hit its quick news cycle, and let it die.
let it die. Dump it on Friday. Get it out as soon as you can. Get it out there, right? And say, "Oh yes," and "Oh, but you didn't tell us all of it." And I said, "Oh, okay. What do you want to know?" Okay, I'm going to get you a response in 30 minutes from the principal. Okay, a principal is the person that's in charge, is paying the money, or the candidate, or somebody like that. It's the guy that's ultimately responsible, or the person that's front facing in society. Okay, so but then there's the other part. It's not, where you're talking, Jane, it's not really a story. This is what it is. I give you all the background, and they go, oh.
Well, that wasn't as exciting as if you denied it. Then it would have been more fun. We could have played with this longer, right?
Yeah.
Short news cycle, good for bad things.
Yes.
That's what you want.
So if you're a doctor or somebody who's always in charge, you're probably not the one to go into the press pool and talk for you, because you're going to say things like, shut up. Don't, you can watch people. You're a liar. Whatever kind of things that you're used to being able to get away with your employees because you're used to being in charge. Don't ever say somebody's a liar, because when you say that, there's no coming back from it. There's nothing that you can say once you offended somebody deeply, you called them a liar or something like that. That offends them to the point, and it'll offend their audience. If you're just a person sitting out there looking at from the outside in, whose side are you on? Who's winning the argument, right? There's an old saying. There was President Bush and Tony Blair, right? And we used to say, let Tony talk, okay? Because President Bush used the English language like an exploding cigar, and Tony was smooth operator, okay? He was all the girls all the time kind of guy, okay? And then you got Porky Pig talking over in the corner, okay? So
so you got to be careful, right? You want somebody in that PR role that's going to handle any kind of conflict, any problems you've got, crisis management, because a lot of times the person who's in it isn't the one that you really want talking, if you can back out of that.
Watch this. You can interrupt people all the time, right? I know that turns women on when guys interrupt them and don't let them
totally
talk, right? So, or you can say, really, honestly, is that it? Are we okay? Okay, let them yell, let them scream, right? Now this is called the rope-a-dope, right? It's a Muhammad Ali, bam, bam, bam. They just kept coming, and then they ran out of there. And then you say, that's really interesting that you feel that way. And you can make it seem like, well, are you all right? Is there somebody that looks after you? Are you taking your medications? Are you okay today? Right? And to the audience, what are they? They're just dying laughing, okay? So you've invalidated not just them that moment, but every time they engage with you, right? They now they get to roll the film back, because in the moment they think that they're brilliant, that they're smart, that they're all those other things, right? But it's like when you go into the car dealership, the guy says, I'm going to win. No, they've already won. You stepped on the lot. They've been doing this for 20, 30 years. And he says, but I'm going to get the best deal. No, you're not. There's a card. And then they say, would you like leather seats? Okay, would you like this package? Okay, great. We're going to include that. Let's go talk to the F&I guy, where they make their real money, is on the financing of the car. Okay? They really don't care. It's like going to a baseball game. Baseball doesn't make any money off the tickets. They make money off beer. Okay? So if you promise to buy beer and hot dogs, they'll be like, come on in. Sit down. You're going to buy it for all your family? Yeah, free tickets. Okay? Because baseball is the purest. It's like the baseball teams are the purest of PR that there ever is. It isn't because it's an exciting sport. It isn't for all those other reasons, right? They're playing in a park. You get to have your kids sit down with you. You feed them. They do a 7th inning stretch. It's not but you get the feeling of your community and team and all those other things. We want to incorporate that. So when we're doing crisis communications, remember, we love our audience. This guy might be opposed to you today, but tomorrow he could be our ally. So what we want to do is we want to be able to deny what they're saying in a way, or limit the damage and say, oh, I really can't talk about that ethically, right? Or whatever. You have a script. We workshop a script together because you can pretty much predict the argument by prophylaxis. What that means is that we're going to argue in a way that is going to cut them off at the pass. We know what they're going to say. They're going to say this, 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 and this. This takes training. This is our answer to this. 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 So when you say, my kid is going to be on the football team or debate team, say, he's going to be on the football team, could get injured. There's some skills that you were going to learn. Or he could be in the debate team where he's going to learn how to have a job. The football or basketball team can get them a job. It's true. There's a lot of good skills there. But if they're going to be a pro, what chance do they have to be a lawyer as a basketball player 40 hours a week versus debate team, mathematics, music, all those things that are in line, right? And then have them do a couple team sports like soccer or something on the weekends, right? What we're going to try to do is we're going to try to argue. We're going to try to always argue from prophylaxis so that we say we always have the information, right? Or let them give us all the questions because we're going to have another time to engage with them. But we're not going to lie. We're not going to engage. We're not going to confabulate in the moment because that causes problems. Those are a problem. Sometimes, the guy says, did you do such and such with Betty Sue? He says, that's not a good answer, okay? See,
right, so it's better no comment. I'll get back to you. The principal will get back to you in 30
it's
minutes.
Better than that. You say, I'm going to write down send your question directly to my email. Here's my email. Here's my phone number. I don't care who has it, okay? Send me the questions in, all right? And I will get back to you as soon, within 3 hours of this event. But I have to press on. I'm sorry. And then the next person is going to ask you probably the same question. And then you're going to be, I'm sorry, same answer I've got for that. Love to give you some information, whatever I've got. We posted it up on our website. You'll also be able to get our website, which is awesome because even if your client's on KissCam, guess what you've done? You've advertised your website to all the media everywhere. So in a way, that was like the best PR they could have got. Okay. So the CEO is on KissCam with the HR person because she knows who she really works for. She doesn't work for the employee. She works for the CEO. Anyway, so they're on KissCam, right? So the guy, the wife of the guy who called her out on Paltrow, right? They hired her to do the PR damage control, right? And it was the best PR they could have done. They did that. So astronomy did that. And now they have Paltrow, and they have this story cycle which says their name over and over again. Most people have never heard their company's name ever. Now they have that. So we take crisis and it's just like chess. Somebody's going into you. You feel a little bit of pain. Remain calm, press through. Then you take advantage of every kind of push has a pull, every kind of situation, every kind of situation that you're going to encounter will have a counter situation. And sometimes the best strategy is be there, let them go by and see how they charge, and you'll know how to take them next time.
I love that. Great advice for those of you who run into that oops problem. Be careful what you do on KissCam. So as we wrap things up, Michael, do you have any last tidbits of advice, any resources you want to tell us to check out?
Yeah, if you'd like to reach out to us at Dice Media Group LLC, if you go there, you get a contact and you want to we often do free hours for people, especially nonprofit organizations or people that are just starting up, right? Because we know that if we're going to do a good job with you, if we can, the first mission of any organization is to get a sale. It doesn't matter if it's a nonprofit. They want to get a grant. They want to get some money. Until you make, as a business, until you make $3,000, it's just this crazy uh, hobby that you have. So sometimes what we have to do is we have to say, who's interested in us? What are they doing? Okay. How are we going to reach them? Right? Who, what are they? Is it a person? Is it an organization? Right? Who, what, where, why, and why would the most important question and marketers will ask you is, why by me? So we're going to state that, get that all written down, and then we're going to make sure that they have a reason to care. If you know that person's into autism, okay, and your organization donates to autism, okay, or you say, I've got a really cool way that you can work with us and donate to autism at the same time. 5 cents of everything that you work with us will go directly to this organization of your choosing.
Yeah,
And
so if
then
you're
you
looking
can,
for those PR strategies and you want to talk to Michael, I just dropped in the chat. There's a link in there that'll take you to dicemediagroup.com/contact. And that's going to take you right to book an appointment, because Michael says he's going to show a little love, give you a little advice, hop on the calendar. So if you're not sure, like, I don't even know where to start with PR, get on a call with Michael, find out a little bit more about your options, because obviously he has more experience and has dealt with more situations than most of us even know even an issue, right? That they how you can do what with that?
use your illusion. Yeah, thank you. Use your illusion, and remember, give Christine a coffee. This organization costs money. All the stuff that she does takes time, money, effort, and show her your love, because I appreciate the time that we've had to be with you.
Oh,
And
aren't you sweet, Michael? Yeah, Giver Marketing, we are full of a bunch of just amazing marketers. And if you're not familiar with Giver Marketing, we've got almost 200 marketers in there now. So the idea is, don't be a lonelypreneur, right? Come hang out with other marketers. We team up on projects. And so we're always looking for businesses that are doing good in the world so that we can help them do more good. All right. So if you want to reach out to me, you can find me on LinkedIn, Christine Deane. But if you want to talk PR, you want to contact Michael Tanner, because he's been there, done that. You have experience in so many different spaces, right? So you start off with newspaper way back when. You've done a lot with, it sounds like media, but
radio,
TV, talk to me, radio. What have you been doing? I mean, you just have a whole gauntlet. So if I
so
came to you, you could say you could help me with what?
well, what's your love? What do you want to do? Tell me your love, and we're gonna go drive you towards that passion. Okay? Because passion is pain, and anything that we do requires a little bit of pain. So some people, they say, I want to start a farm, or I want to have a bakery. Okay? And so we say, okay, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Okay? You're the people. So we write down everything about you being the people. Do you have a degree? Or what's your background? Have you done anything else? No, I just go into work, I want to put the stapler right to my head, and that's why I need to quit. Okay, I understand you. So if you know that if the only other option is do this or put the staple gun to your head, I understand. Okay, so we have a motivation, deep seated motivation. Then what we say is we're going to say, what is the people, right? What are the process? We have the people. Then we say, what are the process? I'm sorry, I screwed that up. So the process is, I'm going to make these cute little baskets or something like that, and people can order them online, or they can we can sell them to people that are doing the events. What's the distribution? That type of thing. Sometimes the best business in the world might be the pooper scooper that goes around the neighborhood, right? How much would you pay not to think about it? Would you pay $15 if somebody would come to your backyard and scoop out all the poop in the backyard, right? Okay. Yes, you would.
Sometimes the not so glamorous jobs can make good money.
Right. So we say, what is the need? Why would they buy me? Because sometimes, and if it takes a short amount of time, like the pooper scooper job, right, or something, short amount of time, high turnaround. You can do 12 yards in 1 week, right? So you think 15 times 12 in 1 day, right? And then we can offer other services. So the first thing that we're going to say is, and we can do doggy daycare. We can provide food. We then introduce ourselves to the community. So the people, the process, and the product, right, or service, right? So we're going to talk about why your service or product is better, why it fills a niche. So we're going to do something called a SWOT. Okay. So the SWOT is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses, those are things you can control. Opportunities and threats are external, the things you can't control, right? Like if you're a farmer right now and you did soybeans and you've been doing it forever, you're hating life right now because it was something that you couldn't control, the tariffs, and China cut it off all the stuff out there for you. They're not buying anything, and now Argentina is buying things. Okay, so those are things you can't control. So what can I do as a farmer to say I'm in the business of doing soybeans, or I'm in the business of providing food? This is the service that I do. And what are my potential customers? So strength, I am doggedly determined. Okay, you better be, because guess what? There's always somebody out there that'll work 40, 50 hours more than you, that's smarter than you and faster than you. Okay. Weaknesses. Yeah, I like to take Sundays off, or, I know that 20 hours a week I have to be with my grandma to take care of her, or whatever kind of thing. Be honest about these two things, okay? Because the art of war, Christine, do you know the first page, the first paragraph of the art of war?
I was just going through what you were saying, and I was noticing we've gone from doggy poop to bakeries to grandma helping grandma. And I'm like, oh my God, Michael, I love you.
Yes. So, but you have to do stories that relate. And your story, when you're doing public relations, so it's hard for some people to keep up, but really, realistically, if you think about it, the first rule: know yourself, know the enemy, and you will always be victorious.
Right.
Okay?
So you're going to help them figure out with their business what all those pieces are, and then how best to push that out in a PR role. Right.
Right. There's tactics and strategy. Do you know the difference, Christine?
Tactics and strategies. All right. We got just a couple minutes to wrap it up. Go ahead. Hit it.
So a strategy is the overall plan. Tactics is I'm going to hit him in the face like this. I'm going to back up. When he comes at me, I'm going to hit him again. If for those people that have tactics, right, but no strategy, they're always going to lose. But those people who always have strategy but no tactics, they're always going to win. So I'm just saying to you that most people wake up every morning and they're in the hamster trail. They wake up, they feed their cat, they go to work, they go watch 3 hours of YouTube, because we know that's what people are doing now. And then they go to bed, they do it all over again, and they try to get their kids to school, they try to do all this stuff, but really they're not working for themselves, they're working for other people because they see themselves trapped in the moment. And that's just tactics. Strategy is saying, well, I know that I have to deliver the kids. I know I have to do these. I have 4 hours in the middle. What do I need to do to be okay? What am I doing to center myself? A lot of women will get up in the morning, like 30 minutes early in the morning, just so they can have their cup of coffee and be by themselves. And they rob them of their sleep. Doing that because they know that they need that. Figure out that time when you need your quiet time, fine. But then say, okay, after I deliver the kids, I need to make my own plan work for me and my family. How do I do that? What can I do to make my situation better the next day and the next day? And these are not super jumps. They're just 1% better than what I was doing yesterday if I can.
Absolutely. Strategy is the key to everything, right? What you want out of your life, what you're doing in business, what you're doing with your PR, especially if there's a crisis. So on that note,
this is Christine. I'm Michael. And it's been great being with you all.
It has. So reach out to Michael. I've got his LinkedIn. I dropped that in the chat. Click on that. Connect with him on LinkedIn. Click on that link. Book an appointment with him. Talk to him a little bit about PR. He's got wealth of knowledge, lots of experience, and kind of help set you in the right direction. Have some fun. And I also want to say that if you are a marketer, PR, media space, don't be a lonelypreneur. Come hang out with us. We do our Tuesday marketing broadcast on Tuesdays, go figure, right? So we'll be back again next week, but we also do networking for marketers. So if you're in the PR space, media marketing, come hang out with us, get to know us. That's our give back also. So on Wednesdays, I run that meeting. So we 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, or if you're in Texas like I am in the central area, right, that's 10 o'clock every Wednesday. Register at givermarketing.com/networking and come hang out with us. We love working together. Let's build that communications tribe and let's all raise for everybody, right? Let's elevate everybody's business within the marketing space and learn from each other and how to elevate our clients, right? So let's work together. Looking forward to seeing y'all for tomorrow for networking or next Tuesday for the Tuesday broadcast. Thanks again, Michael, so much.
And thank you for being with us. I'm going to be at the I'll try to be at the networking thing, but I write all night So we're going to try to see you.
All right. Hopefully we'll see you there. Thank you, Michael.
Okay. Good night. Good night, John Boy.